Assalamualaikum and hi. So in this presentation, we will tell you why did we take a survey for online distance learning between students. So I will tell you guys the introduction, why did we choose online distance learning. The COVID-19 pandemic has become a global health issue and has a major impact on many things and especially in education. Consequently, halfway through the second semester of academic year 2019 and 2020 or even until now, learning methods were delivered through online distance learning (ODL) not only in Malaysia but around the world. Movement Control Order (MCO) is one of the preventive measures introduced by the federal government of Malaysia, was implemented on 18 March 2020. The MCO implemented by the government of Malaysia was similar to the lockdown introduced by other countries. Therefore, all businesses are shut down for a certain period to curb the spreading of the coronavirus, including school. Due to this, COVID-19 tremendously affected the personal interaction of lecturer and student. The absence of traditional classroom teaching and ODL has emerged as the closest replacement for offline teaching, and the student perception and readiness about the online distance learning adopted during the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the use of online technology in education has increased due to the closure of educational institutions. This has raised challenges in online learning, especially for students with limited resources like those in rural areas. The continuous lockdown or movement restriction control affect the student education. Today, students are still in online and distance learning mode compared to traditional face-to-face because of the COVID-19 situation in Malaysia. This pandemic has profound implications in education, whereby it will affect the student quality and preparation to start working, and also will pressure their mental health with this kind of new normal. In this case, we decided to conduct this research to investigate what student perception and problem that they have while facing this online distance learning (ODL). Because of this, we would like to examine the real situation that can be improved in near future in order to help student learning in a good environment and can solve their problem among students in uitm campus Rembau during this online distance learning. We have sent out our survey form to all students, especially from uitm campus Rembau, to answer all questions. Okay, so now let's move to objective. This research objective were expanded based on a specific problem in the research survey from students' answer. For the reason, there are 4 primary objectives in the survey are conduct. For instance, number 1, to explore the demography of students that facing online distance learning. Number 2, to identify the number of students who have problem with online distance learning. Number 3, to investigate the further interest among students in online distance learning. And last one, number 4, to study how effective has remote learning been for students.
So basically, a research methodology is a collection of procedures used to gather and validate knowledge about a particular subject. So this research includes gathering data, conducting a survey, and finally analyzing the data-driven result. Additionally, it gathers with the aim of clearly explaining to those reading the study the validity provided by the research. Numerous methods, including the sample technique, the population, and the questionnaires, can be used to carry out this operation. So the term here, population, refers to the number of people who live in a specific area, such as a city or town, a region, or even a country and nation. Since this population study focuses on a large number of individuals, they are the main focus of specific study. However, we are focusing more on the college student population. In this case, our study topic is particularly relevant to the college student population's perspective on ODL. So, a sample is meant to be representative of the population from which it was drawn in general. In the context of research, it focuses on a group of people, items, or products chosen from a larger population for evaluation. In order for the study's findings to be applicable to the entire community, this research sample should be representative of the population. So as a result, we have collected 67 respondents for this study to complete a survey about students' perspective on online distance learning (ODL). There are 6 main age groups, which are 19 years old, 20 years old, 21, 22, and 20 years old. And the majority of the respondents are female.
Furthermore, the sampling technique's objective is to explain the activities associated with identifying and selecting a sample from a population. The sample must be drawn at random and represent the population. So there are 2 types of sampling techniques, which are probability sampling and non-probability sampling. a sampling technique in which every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected as a representative sample is known as probability sampling. Non-probability sampling occurs when not all members of a population are chosen as a sample. However, we use stratified sampling, that one of the probability sampling techniques for our research topic. So, when it is necessary to divide a population into mutually exclusive and exhaustive subgroups, stratified sampling is used. Furthermore, we believe that the sampling technique is the best choice among the probability sampling techniques because the subgroups will have different mean values.
So, to use this type of sampling, we must first clearly define the population we wish to sample and then divide it into subgroups or strata. This step will allow us to select the appropriate characteristics so that we can easily divide them into groups later on. Then, we can stratify by multiple traits at the same time, giving us a clear match of each subject to exactly one subgroup. On the other hand, to calculate the total number of subgroups, simply multiply the number of strata by the number of characteristics.
The next step is to divide the population into strata, which require us to compile a list of each member of the population and assign it into a stratum. The important thing is that that must be no overlap between each member. Then we must determine the sample size for each stratum, which represents whether it has a larger or smaller population, and select at random from that stratum.
For example, we have 67 respondents from the six main age group, that is 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23 years old. So following that, we decide to resample the following percentage during the survey, and finally we gain 1 years old 0.08, 19 years old 4.31, 20 years old 71.16, 21 years old 14.31, 22 years old 6.66%, and the last 23 years old 3.48% out of 67. So the main reason is that this type of sampling requires us to stratify the entire population before applying the sampling technique. To sum it up, it ensures that each subgroup within the population is properly represented within the sample. As a result, it provides better coverage of the population from the start to the end of subgroup control.
Moreover, another advantage that we considered before using stratified sampling is that it saves both time and money. As we know, stratified sampling represents a larger population that is organized by dividing it into subgroups, and it greatly reduces the amount of time spent simply identifying and analyzing the population. Unfortunately, its stratified sampling cannot be used in every research study because it requires only accurate population information before proceeding. It will be difficult to analyze the situation later if we do not have adequate information. So as a result, if we use it without the proper condition, we may encounter overlapping issues. This type of problem occurs when subject or members belong to multiple subgroups.
The data collection process includes gathering information from student perspective on online learning. Questionnaires are just part of the data collection technique available. The questionnaire has age, gender, and student survey. As the use of digital tools is periodically becoming more widespread among young people, especially students, we use online survey as our data collection strategy in this situation. Moreover, it is a relatively affordable method of reaching respondents wherever they are. The online survey allows respondents to complete it at their own pace and according to their own schedule, making it the fastest option for receiving responses. In addition, this method helped us in our study to get easier access to the respondents' information because the respondents' data was stored automatically. However, with online survey, respondents will undoubtedly feel more at ease to answer any question honestly because some respondents are not very keen on direct interview or any meet-up to answer questions. Since every response will be instantly added to the database, we will receive more accurate have access to the information anywhere, anytime. Online survey also make it simple for us to examine data from a big number of respondents, which will assist us in gathering data.
According to data analysis and result based on the Google form, I found most of the students were 20 years old and single female who managed the Google form. Next, for the student survey, most students had mixed feelings about ODL and most students had access and most of them used laptop during ODL.
In conclusion, through this report, we learn how to analyze, collect data, and transfer it systematic statistical analysis. After analyzing the data collected, we need to learn about what are the student perspective on online distance learning and whether most students face some issue regarding online distance learning. Now, I will explain not all, maybe some of the results that we get from this survey. First and foremost, from our survey, we found out that the percentage of students who are happy with their online distance learning experience is 52.2% of students who may be happy and may be trying to accept this era of online distance learning. And 37.2% of students are happy with the atmosphere and experience of online learning, and 10.4% were unhappy. After that, as a result of this survey, many students have access to device for online learning, and it was also found that most students use laptop device for their learning. Not only that, students are also satisfied with the technology, software application they use for online distance learning with the highest percentage of 58.2%. So, online distance learning has advantages and disadvantages for students. Not all students can accept the rules and the method of online learning. Maybe some students are more prefer to face-to-face classes. So, based on the result on the survey that we did, online distance learning can give the opinion and interest of different students. There may be students who are happy or suitable for online learning and may not. For example, based on a short comment on our survey, there are students who prefer face-to-face learning. He said it is more understanding and able to interact with friends and lecture, and have some comment that we give that are more prefer to online distance learning with their opinion that ODL is more easier than face-to-face. So why can I conclude that 50% students prefer ODL and 50% prefer face-to-face classes? It actually is up to the student interest.